This is Tommy Niblack, and you're watching Insight to Sea.
Started out as just a simple book we could use to self-affirm. But early that morning, the earth shook to show there's much more for us to learn. I know darkness may come to engulf you, but just give it some more time. Follow God's will, the truth is what you're gonna find. Don't give up, have courage, be strong. You'll have a new insight to see, and you'll know pure love is never wrong. Dare to be different, don't stop trying no matter what you do. Trust in your destiny, believe in you. Hi, this is Natalie Walker, and welcome to Insight to Sea. I'm here today with Tommy Niblack, one of my old friends who is just so talented. I'm so lucky to have such talented friends, and so I feel so blessed that I'm able to spend this time and talk to my friend Tommy. And he's going to tell us a lot today, but I'm going to start off like I always do. I don't care who you are. I'm going to start off with the question that I ask all my guests. There was a show back in the 80s, and it was called Ally McBeal. She had a psychiatrist who said, you know, you should come up with a theme song. So when you're feeling low, you're feeling happy, whatever, you have this song, and you go to this song, and you use it almost like a meditating state. Do you have a song like that that you just go to?
I think it's important, first of all, that I say that I only know about Ally McBeal from Netflix. I'm not that old.
I know, I show my age every time. Because there's some people like, kidding. No, it's true. Some people like.
I actually do, and not to be conceited or anything, but it's a song that God gave me that we sing at our church, and it was called "Give You Praise." And basically, the chorus of the song says, "For everything I give you praise." And the song basically talks about no matter what is going on. And when God gave me the song, I questioned him, why are you giving me the song? Because, because I thought, does it mean that something's going to happen and you're going to be expecting some praise out of me when I shouldn't, when I don't want to praise you,
Sky and every cloud, for every time I can, and when I don't know how, thank you for them all, thank you for them all. Everything I give you praise, for everything I give you praise. This is the will of God. This is the will of God. For everything I give you praise. For every stormy sea and peaceful stream, thank you for them all. I give you praise.
But it's something that in every situation that my wife and I have experienced, that I've experienced after that, that song just plays over and over again in my head.
I know.
Don't forget, in everything, praise Him, give Him thanks in everything.
Yeah.
For this is the will of God.
And you know, the funny thing that you're saying about words is that when you do write something, I feel almost like God is like, oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you know what? I don't even know if it's God so much as it's the enemy.
Yeah.
That's saying, do you hear them? This is what they're saying about you. Do you believe it?
Yeah.
Kind of like he did with Job.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely had a Job-like experience. And definitely my words came back to just smack me in my face. Yeah. And I thought I meant them when I wrote them. But
once they get out there, then it's time to live it. And I think that's what happens.
But the good thing is that it's kind of reminding, like, God gave it to you. So He's saying, like, I'll give you the answer before the problem even comes.
That's right.
And that was the thing that kind of saved me, because I kept blaming myself for my health issues. And I kept saying, what did I do wrong? And then when I read one of my poems at church called I Found the Faith, and I was reading the poem, and I was like, I wrote this, at that time it was 11 years ago. I was like, I wrote this 11 years ago, and I wasn't going through this. And I was like, what made me write this? You know? Yeah. And then it became really real. Mm-hmm. Very, very real. And so you are a writer. Tommy's a writer. And he's also a singer and a producer. Mm-hmm. He's a father and a husband.
Yes.
I know, and a child of God, very much so. It's nice when you can know someone, and when they sing gospel. For me, it's important when someone sings gospel that they live it. Yeah. And I can attest that he's living it.
Thank you, Lord.
So yes, good and bad. We all have good and bad. There's no one perfect. Yeah. So I want to ask you. I know that being a Christian is number one, because God is always number one. And I'm going to take your family out of it. Okay. Because I know how that is with family. Okay. But as far as like writer, singer, producer, of those three, hard question, which one do you think is more you?
Out of writer, singer, producer?
Yes.
I think I'd have to say producer. Yeah. After never ever thinking about that question in my life, I'd have to say producer, because and I'm not trying to get deep or anything, but thinking about it right now, at the core, I think of every believer, every man who's a believer, we are producers. Right. I cannot not produce. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it just so helps. It just so happens that for me in particular, God sent me here with music in my hand. Mm-hmm. So being a producer and a believer, all I can do. I mean, I hear music all the time. I'm sure a lot of people say that, but I hear music all the time. I think music. And then the writing part, I love to write, but then again, I love to talk too. So
you're like me. I love to talk.
Yeah. So I guess, it's just the writing flows out of, having something to share and say. So I would definitely say producer first. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. You were saying that music is all around you all the time, and I always tell people music is never background. We can't sit and have a conversation and have music going on, because I'm gonna listen to music and I'm gonna be like, shh, I want to hear the words, or I want to sing or whatever. So I have a hard time doing the both of them. And even with my poetry, sometimes I tell the musicians, like if I'm performing or something, I say, listen, either don't play or just play something very simple, because if you do something good, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing and go, hey, because that's who I am. And there's a few times that I say, music is never that I said on stage, I say, no offense, but music is never background for me. I love music. And so
I blame my mother for that and my family, because now I can't sit in the car with music playing and have a conversation with my wife
No,
or my kids. They have to. Everybody be quiet. If you're gonna talk, let's talk about what we're listening to. But I had to balance that. But it's definitely hard. It's definitely hard. But yeah.
And so, who were some of the people that you did?
I
know one. I'm going to interrupt you. You wrote for Brandy. That's
Brandy.
one of my favorite artists.
That was a year and a half ago. But I think it was 2011, and a friend of mine, Shivani of Buster and Shivani. Actually, he's a friend of my family's. I grew up in Philadelphia, and he grew up in South Philadelphia, and his family and my family were very close growing up. And he moved out to LA, became huge out there. You know, all the stuff that he's done with different artists, different movie scores and stuff. And I went out to LA. My brother and cousin and I, we stayed out for a few months and hooked up with Shivani. We did a lot of work with him. And he called me in 2011. He was like, yo, I'm going to a birthday party. And somebody needs this song from me like tomorrow. But I can't do it. Can you write it? I was like, I'm at a birthday party. But send it, you know. And he didn't give me really anything to go on. He was just like, it's it's a duet, daughter and her father, you know, so come up with something and then, you know, shoot it to me when you're finished. It was 7 o'clock on Saturday. I got to leave worship the next day, and I'm like, I'm not trying to stay up. And so I told my wife, I was like, babe, I'm not trying to stay up until 12 to write this song. She said, don't. I was like, you know what, that's the Lord right there. Don't stay up to try to write the song. So I came downstairs and I prayed. I was like, God, you got to give me these lyrics because I'm not trying to be up late.
Right.
So I wrote it and I thought it was really stupid. I really did. I couldn't sleep. The song is called Talk to Me. And basically the first verse is for the girl. Second verse, sing together. They changed it and had the father and the son. So it wound up being Brandy and her father and Ray J. So all three of them are on the song. And, when he called me initially to play back the vocals with Brandy on it, I lost it. I lost it. So it's and I know there's a lot of cats that are writing for folks, but if you ever lose the fascination with, you know, somebody that's greater or better, you never lose the fascination of doing work and having them, you know, validate your work. I think something's wrong. So for me, I lost it. I was just like, it's Brandy.
You have some music coming out.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes. I working on the second album. My first album was probably 5 years ago. And I did that album after my wife and I went through, and we'll probably talk about it later, but we almost got divorced. And God came in and showed up for sure. And after that, these songs came to me, and I realized, you know what? This is what he wants me to do. To do an album. So the album was basically, the album was called Come Through. It was on iTunes and Amazon for a while. And it's basically what he did for me in that time.
Right. Is it still available?
It's not so. It's available through me. I can send it. You know, I have all the masters and everything. It's not on iTunes anymore. It is on Django. Okay. It is playing on Django. But on that album, I have my testimony of what God did for me and what He did for my wife and our marriage. So everybody can hear, you know, firsthand what God is capable of, what He's able to do, and how faithful He is.
Yeah, what He's done.
Yeah. So that was the one, and I struggled with putting it on there. And the Lord was like, you know what? Do it, because you don't know who it's going to touch. So very important. And I used to hear this growing up all the time. My mother used to say, don't let because the Bible says, it's in the Gospels, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. I believe Jesus said it. but he was, and to me, what that means is there's not a lot of things that you should share because there aren't people that have the same level of faith as you, and those people will come back and try to bring your faith down to theirs, which is not that's not what's supposed to happen. But those people, I heard somebody say, they have cheap seats. They're sitting in the cheap seats. They're not in the ring, fighting because they're too afraid to get in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So, but for those of us that are in the ring, by the way, that's a quote from this woman named Brene Brown. So if you ever get your hands on anything she writes, do it. She's
I
good.
like that. Okay.
So those are cheap seat people. Yeah, I think the most important thing for us to do as believers, especially if we're really living the life, is this: we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. The way you're never going to be back at that place again is to keep telling folks, this is where I came from.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But so now, fast forward 5 years to this new album, so much has happened. I've learned so much about who God is and who He wants me to be, and so when I was putting it off for a long time. I didn't tell you that earlier. He was actually telling me to do another album because in that 5 year period I was producing for other people, and some of the music they would take, some of it they wouldn't take. You know, that's how it goes. And so I would just sit and listen to some of the tracks and hear God say, do another album. Do another album. I'm like, nah. I don't want to. And so finally, it was like a week and a half ago, I heard it again, and I was like, you know what? It's time.
Yeah.
It's definitely time. And for what it's worth, I don't want to be disobedient. If this is really what you want me to do, I want to do it.
Right.
So the second I got in line with what I believe is His will, the title of the album came, and songs started to come. Literally that day, 5 song ideas. I put them on my phone. I was like, this is crazy, you know. So so the title of the album is called My Service.
That's an example of living in God's will. When you live in His will, everything.
And the crazy thing is, it's the Bible, man. You know what I'm saying? We just we skim over these scriptures. In all your ways, acknowledge Him, and He'll make your path straight. Okay, I'm still gonna be hustling. No, you don't have to, because He's gonna make your path straight if you acknowledge Him in what you're doing. If you include Him in what you're doing. So the second I did that, and that's not the first time that's happened, and I should have known better. But,
but we're human.
Yeah.
That's why we grace.
Yeah. This one, like I said, there were songs that I had produced and written and stuff, and some people took some of them they didn't take, and the Lord was like, I want you to use that one, and that one, and that one. I was like, well, these aren't gospel songs, and He was like, and.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because for us, and I was reading a book here recently, the reprint of Purpose Driven Life is called What on Earth Am I Here For? By Rick Warren, and he talks about what we think is worship, what we think is gospel music.
Right.
And you know, the thing is, if you're living your life for Christ, you can sing about the life that you're living for Christ. It doesn't have to have His name in the song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A bird glorifies God by flying and doing what birds do.
Right.
We glorify God by doing what He sent us here to do.
Yeah.
So if that is to sing about how great our life is now, and the song doesn't talk about Him, or it says Him, or I thank you, what's wrong with that?
If you're singing about love, you're singing about God.
If you're singing about love,
you're singing about love between you and your wife.
That's right.
It still comes from God.
Speaking of the first song that He reminded me of was a song that I wrote a few years ago called Man Enough. And the first verse says, when I'm half, girl, you hold me. When I'm sad, you lift me. When I need a laugh, you joke me. This is what you do. I'm man enough to admit it. I'm man enough to admit I'd die if you left my side. You know what I'm saying? And that could easily go on an R&B album.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm in a marriage that's glorifying God.
Right.
And that song is about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the Lord was like, listen, put it on there. For those that get it, they'll get it. For those that don't,
right. He even said he wished that all of us would be saved.
He wished all of us would be saved.
But he knows that
some of them won't.
Yeah. So no.
That's who I am, at least. You know what I'm saying? There is an ugly past.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's an ugly past, and I don't mind talking about it because I'm not there anymore. And you know, if someone is listening and they are there, then they know that there is definitely hope. See, if people want to hear any music, I do have music that, like I said, I'm the worship leader at Valley Christian Church.
Okay.
It's in Hopewell Junction, New York. If they want to hear any of the songs that we sing there, they're all available for free download on the Valley Christian Church website. Just go on media, you'll see messages, and you'll see songs. Email is, if they want to email me and get the link to my first album, I'll send them the link. It's niblack.thomas@gmail.com. And I'm on Facebook, Tommy Niblack, and my Twitter account is @Tommy_Niblack.
Okay, so you guys got all of that.
Yes.
And I just want to thank you so much. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for sharing with us. And I hope someone is encouraged. You can do it. This is living proof right here. Whatever it is you're going through, God got you. He got you.
Absolutely.
And he will see you through, and he will accomplish everything that he sets out to accomplish.
That's right.
That has to be his will, though.
That's true.
But anyway.
That is true.
Tommy, thank you so much.
Natalie, it's definitely good to see you. It's been too long.
Yes,
and I'm glad that you came over
here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Excited to see y'all. It's going places. Follow her. Before I get up to lead worship, I literally would walk on the stage petrified. Because I was like, all right, this is the day that I'm going to open my mouth to sing, and God is going to strike me, and I'm going to die in front of everybody. Because nobody knows what I'm doing.
Right.
Fearing for my life when I know you love me. And I'm supposed to love you. And so, I don't even remember what day it was, but in 2006, I was like, all right, I'm going home after that. But I was so close to stardom so many times during that time. The guy was like, you think I'm crazy? I'm not going to let you get what you think you want, acting like you're acting.
That's a lesson.
With my brother and my cousin and I, we lived with Andre Crouch for 8 months.
Oh, wow. That is great.
We toured with Andre, and we wrote songs with Andre.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. This was basically 2008. It's the same thing. I feel the same way when I see people following their dream. When I see them going after what it is they were put here to do, I'm just like, that's awesome. There's a book my wife and I are reading now called Start. It's by an author named John A. Cuff. And he talks about living on the road to average, but seeing that there's an awesome road. Yes. And that road is where we all should be. But there are people that are just they're gonna let fear and doubt tell them, yeah, but that guy looks like he hits hard. I'm not gonna get in the ring. I don't want to get hit. If your awesome is X, Y, and Z, so what? I posted something this morning from that book, a quote from that book, John A. Cuff's book. It says, fear says it's too late to be a good parent. It's too late to go back to school. It's too late to be anything other than what you already are. And then on the title of his book, he says, punch fear in the face. Right. Punch fear in the face and be the awesome that God promised. And I was chasing that instead of chasing after what the Lord wanted me to chase after. And what he wanted was to develop my character before all that.
He said that nobody is built for me.
If you're not constantly saying what Jesus said, I do nothing outside of what my Father sent me to do. I say nothing outside of what my Father tells me to say. And I'm saying that, but it's taken me years to learn how to even start thinking that way. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Lord, what am I supposed to do here? What am I supposed to say here? You know what I'm saying? And that was after I realized I can't have that. Whatever I'm chasing after that's not that. I'm not going to get there until I let Him develop in me what He wants to develop.
Yeah. I'm putting my trust in you to become more than you want me to.